Hello and good evening. I try hard. Let me know if the music is a little too low. Right now we're just switching in between songs. So this is where we left off. We have 3 more emotes to sketch, and then I'll have to do the line art off stream. The line art is hard to do on stream, and honestly, I've done something terrible to myself because once I finish these sketches, I don't have anything else planned. So we're going to be doing line art, but we're going to be doing line art for, oh, not that. Let's close that one. Sexy Devil Girl for Patreon. This is the most safe for work piece that I could do for Patreon. Yeah. Elise, and then her. She's cute, okay? Alright, so where did we leave off? We left off, we were doing the ramen. Oh yeah, I remember where we are now. Okay. Right before the stream, I saw in your Discord, at announcing that there were glider pets, but he announced it with the user's name, which was flavored crayons. So when I read the description, I thought that either you guys had either named a creature flavored crayons, or flavored crayons were now a thing. What? Did chat not come up? Oh, okay, he named. That's pretty cool. But I just felt really dumb because my child brain got really excited. I was like, flavored crayons? Hi, Vaden, how are you doing? Thanks for tuning in. I have to get to the thing. Ah, the thing. Oh, okay. I had no idea. I've never clicked a Discord link to Twitch. I usually just look up the person's username on Twitch if I ever want to watch somebody, because there's a few. Honestly, I don't think I've ever joined a Discord where I don't already follow the Twitch person. Yeah. Well, that's what the link is for you to be lazy. And it sucks that it didn't work out properly. So last night's stream, I had a little bit of wine, and for anyone who doesn't know, I am such a fucking lightweight. So I was not drunk, but I was like tipsy and buzzed for a portion of the stream, and I woke up and I did not feel hungover, and it which was a feat unto its fucking self, because I'm usually very hungover. But then like later in the day today, I started getting this really bad headache, and I was like, why does my head hurt? I was like, okay, maybe it's because I haven't eaten in a little bit, so I ate. But no, that wasn't it. I was like, okay, maybe it's because I'm not wearing my glasses yet, because I just didn't put them on for a little while. Nope, put my glasses on. Glasses did not make it better. I was like, okay, maybe it's because I haven't had any caffeine yet. And I was like, well, I had some coffee, and that did not fix it. And then I had I was like, okay, well maybe I'm hungry and I'm getting like a migraine from being hungry. Was not it. I had food, and like my headache was still there, and in fact like the coffee was making my headache worse, even though caffeine usually makes my headaches better. And I was like, what is going on? And then like 30 minutes before the stream, my dumb ass was like, oh, I haven't had any water in like 3 days. So I had like a singular glass of water, and my body was just like, yes. So yeah, that's how my day's been going. So I have a glass of water. I was gonna have coffee during the stream, because I usually try to have like coffee or tea to keep myself caffeinated, but I have water next to me right now. Hi, Exorcio! How are you doing? It's nice to hear from you again. It's been so long. We're doing ramen emotes. Oh, and by the way, after we finish doing these sketches of the ramen emotes tonight, I'm gonna be working on part of like the Patreon stuff that I usually do, which is not safe for work, but it's like she's like a little safe for work. She's really cute. But yeah, so we'll do a little bit more of ginger drawing after dark. I'm glad you're just chilling. Hopefully you've had a good day. I was worried because if my migraine did not go away, I was going to be like a zombie on stream and I was going to have to cancel. That's why I was like throughout the day, just very hurriedly like, do I need Tylenol? Because, yeah. Yeah, so 1 glass of wine. That's what it'll... I am not fun as a zombie. I go through stages when I like don't feel well or I'm very tired. I go through this stage of I don't feel very good, but I'm gonna put up with it, and and that will usually make me a little crabby. I become a little bit of a bitch, and then I go through this stage of oh god, I feel awful. I just need to like I just need to get through this. And I become like a zombie where I barely talk and I just kind of like stare off into space and just kind of shuffle around. And then I go through the stage where I am in so much pain, or I am so tired, or I am so hungry that if you ask me a single question, it could just be, hey Ginger, do you like the color blue? And I will just break down crying. I will cry at how difficult it is to think of an answer to I like blue. So yeah. Sometimes. I learned recently that like, so apparently art only, like, you know how you get the feeling of crying like behind your eyes, or like when you are sad and you're about to cry, like it, like you can feel it getting ready. And you can feel your eyes like prepping, like, all right, we're gonna fucking cry. And that's when you can start holding it back, all that good stuff. So I don't know about all girls, but I will just randomly get that feeling. I will be perfectly fine. I'll be having a good, happy day, and then all of a sudden my eyes will be like, we're about to cry. I'm like, why? Why are we doing this? And it's just like, we do. Why? Because. Oh, all right. And sometimes like Art would be like, hey, how's work going? And I'd just message him, I want to cry. And to me, that was just me expressing like I have the feeling of crying. Like sometimes it's just from sheer boredom. Apparently, Art just took that as I am incredibly depressed and I feel awful, which was not usually the case. Usually I'd be like, oh, I feel like shit or something. Like I'd be a little bit more descriptive. I wouldn't just go, I feel like crying. Because to Art, apparently he told me that he only cries when he feels awful, which I guess is the normal human thing. But no, I chalked it up to like, because I was also on my period at the time this past week, so we were like, maybe it's just hormones, which is very powerful, of course, for me. It's awful. I get bad hormones, but it just sometimes I will watch an anime and I'll watch like the third time I've seen this particular episode, or I'll know what happens because I read the manga, and my brain will just be like, cry. Stop your goddamn eyes out. Why? Because this theme song is so beautiful. Yep. And that's my life. Welcome to the stream. I think if I cried and every time I cried at like somewhere in the background Everybody Hurts started playing, I would lose shit. I would immediately just become angry. And then I would be crying because I was angry. Alright, let's stop talking about crying. Talking about crying might make me cry. Now all I can think about is different song. Oh, so I don't listen to if you're in my Discord, I made a channel for music, which is called What Are You Listening To? And because I like to listen to really weird music, and sometimes I feel like torturing people and sharing my weird taste with them. And today we were in the car right before Art's stream. We were grabbing some groceries really quick right before his stream, and we were listening to the radio, and Ghost of You came on the radio, and I don't usually listen to like top 40 popular songs, but for some reason today I was just like, yeah, I'll listen to this. Sure, why not? And Art was like, dear God, please fuck no. Because he does not like a lot of popular music either. He doesn't like my music, but he doesn't like very popular music. And it's been stuck in my goddamn head all fucking day. So I'm listening to all of my weird, I'm like listening to like Will Wood and Penelope Scott and like all of, and like Lemon Demon, like all these really weird, and then once in a while, as soon as like the songs like crest, and then they fade out right before the next one plays on Spotify, my brain is just like, Ghost of You! It's just such bullshit! And that's why I don't listen to top 40 songs. They're too catchy. They're too catchy for their own good. But I guess that's how they make money. That's how artists make money, is by drawing things that people like, and people like. Actually, so I like art that will address the struggles of other artists. And I saw a comic on Reddit a few days ago on the subreddit r/comics, which is really cool. And it was like this person all dressed up in armor, and they go up to this lake, and they're like, Lady of the Lake, tell me, how can I make a living as an artist? And she's like, it's simple, my child. Draw porn. And like the Lady of the Lake is like naked with like censor bars over her, and she's like, oh. And I felt that. I felt that hard. So I don't listen to a lot of music either. Honestly, I listen to a lot of horror podcasts and horror like narrated stories, like a lot of Mr. Creepypasta. Or I listen to the same two audiobooks on repeat. I'm not a psychopath, I swear. I just only have room on my phone. I have very limited memory on my phone, and I still have not gotten the password for my work at the Wi-Fi password. So I listen to the same two audiobooks that I have downloaded to my phone. They are Tales from the Gas Station. I highly recommend them to anyone. I'm trying to get Art to listen to them, but he does not. They're not horror. They're just like slightly scary, and he does not. He does not put up with any of it. He's just like, no, it's scary. It's scary, and I will not. And I'm like, all right, fine. I think it's funny. There are jokes in it that he would love, and he's just like, no. Okay, I have to make this a little bit smaller. But yeah, Tales from the Gas Station. 100%. Everyone read it. I have gotten him to agree to listen to a little bit of it. He's like, can we listen to it? And I look at Reddit on my phone, and I'm like, that's not listening. He's like, yes, it is. We do that together all the time. I'm like, no, when I tell you stories and you look at your phone, you are not listening. I know, because I will quiz you. Hi, Spectre. I do not quiz him. I'll just make the story more and more ridiculous, and he'll come in because he'll hear little details, and he'll be like, you're just doing this because you think I'm not listening. Well, I am listening, and I'm like, no, you're not. He doesn't do it often. He's a lot better about it, and everyone is guilty of doing that at some point to someone. Sometimes Art will talk to me when I'm looking at my phone, and he doesn't realize I'm looking at my phone, and I don't realize he's talking to me. It's a whole thing. Hi, Spectre. That is okay. So for all of you who are like, why does she know this? Why are we talking about this? That is like the 5th time Art has heard all of those facts. He is so tired because I know a lot of things, but I know a limited number of facts, and they are some of my favorite ones. They're just the ones that my brain has decided we're gonna keep these forever, and I'm like, all right. But because Art and I have been we've known each other for 6, almost 7 years now, he's heard all of them. I have to find new facts, but unfortunately, the ancient Greeks aren't making new facts. So he's heard all of them, and he knows all of them, so he's just like, oh my god, I don't want to hear about how your uterus might fly out at 25 miles an hour. He's very gracious. I tell a lot of the same stories. I know 5 stories. I know a lot more than 5 stories, but I know at any given point 5 specific stories, and they just cycle through. Every month, my brain will just be like, and this month we're telling these 5 stories, and it might be stories that I've already told him over and over for many years. It's a good time. I tried to explain what streaming was to my mom at one point last weekend, which is always an adventure for me, because unlike some people's parents, because my parents are both Gen Xers, and unlike the Gen Xers who show up and kind of understand what the internet is, they refuse. My mom used Palm Pilot. It's just so weird. There are so many facts, especially because the sexual education classes in our country are just so terrible. I feel like I must help the people. I've dated so many guys who are just like, what is it? That's so mean. That is so mean. I have gone out with quite a few men who had no understanding of female reproduction at all. One guy I went out with thought a woman could only get pregnant if she orgasmed, and I'm like, well, that sounds really fucking lucky for you. Okay. Hi, Team Fixer. Hi, Fixer. Oh yes, I've heard that one. There have been studies done where, cause I heard this one actually from a girl, where if you that lemon juice is a natural spermicide and antibacterial, which to a degree it is. Like, she's not wrong. She wasn't wrong. But then if you spray lemon juice into your vagina after sex, you wouldn't get pregnant. And I was like, it doesn't sound right. And I looked it up. There were studies done where they would put like a sponge with lemon juice on it into a woman's vagina, and then they would have sex, and then they would take samples from what was left over in there and test to see if like what was left, and the lemon juice did kill all of the bacteria, and it killed like a significant amount of sperm when they took lemon juice and sperm and like put it into contact like in a petri dish in the lab, but also kill other bacteria. But the degree of lemon juice you would need to have in there for it to work as an effective spermicide versus like regular over-the-counter fucking spermicides, is it like you'd have to have an equal amount of lemon juice. Okay. Yes, it was based on the acidity level. But about the hockey puck, that was really interesting. Every time I've ever had to go to the emergency room or to the doctor, they will always ask how, like, when my last period was, and if you can't remember, they will do a pregnancy test. If you're like, oh, I can't remember when I had it this month, or if it's like within like I think a 2-week period, they will have you do a pregnancy test, or if they have to do an X-ray. So if you had a friend and she got hit in the foot with a hockey puck and it was broken, even if she wasn't pregnant, or if she had her period recently, they would probably ever do a pregnancy test, because one, you can have your period while you are pregnant. Some women do. Some women they have their period completely normally, and it's insane. But it's also because you get blasted with so much radiation that if you're pregnant and you don't know, it can cause a miscarriage, which can kill a woman. Or she might have been required to, if she was doing like an official team and it wasn't just like for funsies, she might have been required to go to the medical center, just for liability and insurance reasons. I'm trying to think. I think the only times I've ever gone to the doctor and they made me take a pregnancy test, like, is when I had to go see my my gynecologist. OB/GYN and gynecologist, they usually like double. But yeah. I mean, again, like varsity, if she's with a team and she's with like school or anything, they were probably required to send her to the med center for liability reasons. Yeah, it's very standard for women. Something that I do. So if you go to the hospital in the Detroit area, it's bad. I recommend not getting injured over there if possible. But if you go to the doctor over there, it's very like in, out. You might wait like 5 hours in the emergency room, all that good stuff. If you go to the doctor on the west side of the state, in like the nicer areas, it's in, out, but they like care. There's a bigger level of care. Test your lemon juice levels. Because they send you to the bathroom like with the cup for pregnancy and for drug testing, because usually they'll just do both. It was the weirdest thing, because I had to go to the emergency room because I thought I had ruptured my appendix. I hadn't. It was a whole different thing. But Art went with me because, I mean, he was there. He was my ride, right? And he was obviously like, oh my God, are you gonna die? But because I showed up, with my significant other, they were like, "Are you in a safe place at home?" I was like, "Yes, I'm in a safe place at home." Why are you even asking that? They're like, "No, it's just standard." I was like, "Okay." But they'll ask you, like, when they hand you the cup and they take you to the bathroom, they will ask you then because it's the only time that you're, like, away from a potentially abusive partner, which is really sweet and makes sense. But I was definitely thrown off by the question because I was like, I am in so much pain right now, and he's the only thing keeping me from, like, having a panic attack because I'm scared of doctors. Please do not kick him out of the room. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, give me 1 second. I have to take off my sweatshirt. You guys can't see it, but like, I'm all warm. I should probably, yeah. That is so. I never knew that children could be born addicted to drugs if they did those drugs until I think I learned that fact in the 6th grade. Because I found out that I found some interesting facts out about some of my classmates. But yeah, if you're pregnant and you do the drugs, your child can become addicted to drugs in utero, and then they go through withdrawals when they're born, which is terrifying. Like you're in like a weird safe place that's dark and wet, and you're fed through your tummy, but that's really? Is that they can be born addicted to drugs? That's weird. I'm trying to think of like the first thing I learned. My parents had my brother when I was 7, so I remember my mother being pregnant, and then telling me about like how babies are, like a little bit of how babies are made and like how they're born. I did not know that people had sex for fun, just for funsies, until I was like 13, and I had a cousin who got pregnant from a one-night stand, and they didn't know who the dad was for a little bit, and my mom told me that. And I was like, why did she have sex with them? Like, in my mind, it was just like a procedure you did to have a baby. And my mom was like, cause if you do it with someone you like, it feels good. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, it just... Oh, wow. We started sex ed in the, like, it was very briefly touched on in the 4th grade. And then we had, like, they would separate the girls and the guys in the 5th grade, and the girls would learn about girls and our changing bodies in the 5th grade. And then, the guys would learn about themselves, and there were these really weird videos that they made us watch. I also learned that my 5th grade teacher, she lived in a house that had one of they're weird. So my teacher was super weird. She was the one who played with Mercury in the 5th grade, and she told us about how when she was little, they would take their soiled tampons and pads. I'm just catching up on chat and I'm dying. Excuse me. They said they were she said that they had like a metal box, kind of like a laundry chute with like a little door in like near the kitchen in their house, and that's where they would put all of their soiled tampons and pads. And like at the end, like when it got full, they would light them on fire. Like that was how you were supposed to regularly dispose of them, is like you would then like set them on fire in this little like fireproof box in the wall in your house. That's how fucking old my teacher was. I learned what the word slut was in my 6th grade sex ed class. Just like, this one will be interested in building robots. And then, and in the 6th grade, we learned more about girls, and we also learned about the boys. That was the year that we were allowed to learn about boys, and the boys were allowed to learn about girls. And it was literally like we just watched the boys video that we watched, that the boys watched the year before, and I learned what wet dreams were. And it was fucking ridiculous. I remember, because the girl one was a little traumatizing, because like she had her first period, and like it was weird. It was not good. And then the boys one, it was just like, you might have weird dreams sometimes. It'll make it awkward to talk to girls. And we were like, this does not seem like an equivalent video at all. And then I remember 7th grade, everyone lost their minds. Oh, I'm sorry, 8th grade. 7th grade, we did not have a health class. 8th grade, it was the first health class that we were allowed to take co-ed. And everyone lost shit. Everyone was just like, we have to learn about periods again, and this time with boys. It's like, we're probably all gonna watch the same fucking videos again. And then they told us about sex, and we were like, oh, okay, maybe this is a bit more. Oh god. I learned that, so Art went to like this rich kid school. My absolute favorite story is still about the high school teacher who, after you watch the Miracle of Life video, she would play it backwards. You'd see the baby being born, and then you'd see it backwards, and it would look like her vagina was eating the baby. I unfortunately did not have that teacher. Okay, so Art went to a Druid school for, like, part of his elementary school. So that was very early on. So Art used to live in this very affluent neighborhood. So most of the people he went to school with were like the children of lawyers and doctors. Mr. Ronaldo. So cool. And politicians. So Art went to this really fancy school, and apparently in the fancy school, the health teachers don't show you traumatizing pictures of dicks with like basically coral growing off of them. I got to see that. And they taught us that the only way to not get pregnant was to use condoms, and then you were still gonna get pregnant, so don't have sex anyway. That was the whole thing. Oh, they did do that? You told me they didn't. Oh god. So, I learned about blue waffle in college because apparently I was too pure of a soul for my friends to traumatize, and I did not go on the internet very much in high school. I was too busy actually doing things. So in college, there was someone who was like, "Oh, you haven't heard of blue waffle?" I was like, "Okay, tell me what it is." And then they made me look it up, and it was not a good time. What was that like? I still remember MySpace. MySpace was going out of style when I was in the 6th grade. I was not allowed to have a MySpace, but it existed, and I got to see my friends' MySpace pages when I went over to their houses. I remember watching my uncle play World of Warcraft on dial-up internet, and I thought it was the coolest shit in the world. I thought it was amazing. And that was my first exposure to the internet. I have heard of and seen some of these very old websites, and they remind me of like of those liminal space, like empty hotel conference areas where like you look at it and you're like, this was a place. This was a place that people were. And it's just a weird feeling. You played WoW on dial-up? Very nice. I bet you did not have a super annoying 4-year-old niece standing right next to you going, "Why? Where's the eagle? Eagle, go on the eagle." And then your mom standing there, okay, your mom was probably right there going like, "I have to make a phone call." Because it was dial-up internet. Oh. Yep. I thought it was the coolest thing. I think my grandma also, like, let me go over there. Because usually if my uncle was doing something, oh my god. See, I don't know about those stories because my bedtime was 7:30 because I was fucking 4. And my grandmother, who I'd spend a lot of time with over there because my dad was working, my uncle was about 14 years older than me. And most of the time she would like try to keep me a little bit away from him, like, don't bug your uncle, he's doing his own, because he was a teenager and he was her 4th kid, so she was like, I don't want to bug him all the time and make him watch his little niece, like, he's a teenager, he's gonna want to do his own thing. But when he was playing World of Warcraft on the internet, I think she wouldn't do that as often. She would like let me be over there and bug him a little bit more because she knew that my uncle would like every time I went over there, I'd be like, I would ask him what chat was saying, so he'd have to read it out loud or else I'd throw like a little hissy fit. So she could check up to make sure that like he wasn't doing anything weird. I think that was a little bit of her motive. Because I do remember one time when I went over there and he typed something really quick and I like sat in his lap. I was like, what's she doing? He was like, I'm telling them that not to swear. And I was like, why? And he goes, because you're here. Like he read it to me, he was like, my niece is right here, so watch what you say. He let me make a character at one point too. Like he would like sit there and he would play it with me. So I would essentially tell him what to do, and he'd be like, okay, well, what do you want to be? I'd be like, I want to be an animal. And he'd be like, okay, well, if you do this class, you can turn into an animal. And I'd be like, why can't I turn into the eagles? Because the eagles is how you would get from like place to place. And he was like, no, well, because if you did that, then nobody would use the eagles that they have here. And I was like, oh, that's dumb. He goes, yeah. Like, this is the very early days of WoW. I remember the Harry Potter, like, Pottermore website, when it used to be actually, like, a video game experience and less of, like, tutorials and quizzes and, like, fan lore. And you would, like, you could make a character profile and you would pick out your wand at Ollivander's by, like, flicking the mouse around. Ah, internet days. I played that on dial-up. I remember explaining, because unlike many people my age, I grew up watching a lot of VHS tapes, just because we were poor and did not have a DVD player for the longest time, but we had a bunch of VHS tapes. But my brother, he had when he was little, he had like this big, like my parents would have us, like they'd let us listen to like lullaby CDs when we were going to sleep. So I had a little radio in my room, so they put like an old stereo radio set up in his room. And so he had cassette tapes when he was very young, and they'd play like those Baby Einstein cassette tapes to help him fall asleep. So growing up, he always knew what a cassette tape was, but he had never known. That's so nice of him. So he knew what cassette tapes were, but I remember when he was, I want to say he was like 7 or 8 years old, and that was the first time he saw like a VHS tape, and he was like, what is this? I was like, this is a VHS tape. He was like, what? He thought it was a giant cassette tape. He was like, how much music can you fit on this? I was like, it's for movie. I showed him the VHS player. How old am I? I am between the ages of 20 and 25. Frequent customer. They're like frequent flyer miles, where you can get a punch card for how many miles you've been in a police car. I am a baby. Which is weird because essentially anytime I meet someone who's like younger than me, like they could be 23 years old and my brain's just like, baby. They're a baby. Like I am a year older than them. I had a coworker who was 20 when I worked with him. This was right before COVID. And he used so much slang I couldn't understand half of what he said. It was contraception. If you get arrested 7 times, but you get out on bail, you get the 8th time for free. Oh god! Like those smoothie cards. It's like a get out of jail free card. This is terrible. So one of my favorite board games to suggest, I'm terrible at it. I lose all the time. I am being a bad influence. Come on, kids, let's see how many times we can get arrested. Shit, what the fuck was I saying? Oh, so one of my favorite games to play, like with family, growing up, was Monopoly. Because I thought it was hilarious to watch people get upset over it. And so did my grandfather. My grandfather is insanely good at Monopoly. He's also insanely good at cards. Like, my grandma told me, I don't know if this is true, but my grandma told me that he's not allowed in the casino near where they live anymore because he knows how to count cards, and it's not something he does on purpose. It was just something that, like, I think as a kid he just picked up from playing so much with like his brothers that he's just like, yeah, like he's insanely good at board games and Monopoly. That's a great business name. So my grandpa's one of his favorite games is also Monopoly. So every time I wanted to play Monopoly and watch people fight, I'd be like, hey grandpa, do you want to play Monopoly? He'd be like, yeah, let's play Monopoly. Now when I ask him if he wants to play Monopoly, he's like, I don't think we can handle that anymore. Like, my family got real good at just catching me at like 10 years old going up to grandpa and being like, you want to play Monopoly? And the fun thing is my grandma has like Star Wars themed Monopoly. So we would play Star Wars Monopoly. My dad has Nightmare Before Christmas Monopoly, and I don't think it's ever been taken out of the box. Wasn't it? I thought it was really cool because it had like the shiny box. Like it was the one game in my grandma's little game closet that had like foil on the side, so it was shiny, and I was like, Star Wars. Of course, I knew what Star Wars was like since I was 2. I was like, shiny Star Wars. So by the time I learned how to like read and do basic math, my grandpa was like, yeah, let's play Star Wars Monopoly. Like my family has like pieces that they have like essentially claimed from the Monopoly box. Like that's how intense and if you tried to take somebody else's game piece, like they were out to get you for the rest of the goddamn game. My family gets very intense about games. They get very intense about games, and then they met art. And art is amazing at every game ever, including just games of like guessing games and games of chance. It's insane. So this year was the first holiday that we actually got to spend with my family because of COVID in the past few years. So we're there for Christmas, right? And we're spending like 3 or 4 days there. And my grandpa loves to do random games of chance. Like he has like a set for like bar dice, which is mostly just you throw die and then you have he's got like little like tabs and you like knock the tab down. It's got math in it. It's a whole thing. Art won all of those. And then he won all of the card games. He won all of I think he won the goddamn horse race that my grandpa put a bet on. And it was insane. Like he was winning everything to a point where everyone in the family was like, I think he's cheating. But he wasn't. And like it's like the day that we're gonna leave, like it's been 4 days and my grandma loves to cook for us. And she'll cook these huge breakfasts. And we're all, it's like me, Art, and my brother, and we're sitting at the table, like the little bar table in front of the sink where my grandma is putting away leftovers because we're all about to fight over leftovers as you do at family holidays. And she's like, anyone want to guess how many cartons of eggs I used over this weekend? And my brother and I each guessed, and we were close. And Art he guessed right away, and she was like, he got it. Like spot on. I was like, you don't even cook when we're at home. How do you know? I can hear Art giggling in the background right now. It was truly infuriating. Another issue that came up over the holidays is so recently my dad found out that Art loves Magic the Gathering. So for Christmas, my dad just got him and my brother a ton of card packs. He like went to different like card game stores to make sure he would get good packs for them so that they could do like draw games, right? Where like you each open like 3 packs and you do a game with like cards you draw with decks you made just from those cards, right? And Art won like almost all of them. He won almost all of the games, and my brother was furious. He was like, my brother has become addicted to losing to Art to a certain degree. And then yes, that was the secret. Art was even like, he's coming really close to winning, and then like I just happened to get like a really good card, and I'm like, you son of a bitch, where does this luck come from? Don't do it, baiting. Don't do it. No. Don't do it. It's not worth the cost. Oh my god. Maybe I should have made all of your emotes Yu-Gi-Oh themed. Do you want some of those? Tell us your greatest comeback win, baiting. Okay, well, if you get more emo slots, maybe a couple of them will be Yu-Gi-Oh. Look at this tasty ramen bowl. That's not bad. Oh no, it's not symmetrical. My trap card. Okay. That is a phrase that Art actually likes to use in real life. When he does something super sneaky and I'm like, you did that! Or he like baits me into a stupid dad joke. He's like, aha! You've activated my trap card! Ah. It just adds like salt to the wound. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good ramen bowl right there. I'm trying to add like variety. So like the tier 1 or the follower is just like cup ramen, and then the what is this? First bowl is just like egg with green onion and some seaweed. This one's got meat and mushrooms in it. Like I'm trying to upscale them. On the 8th, we did it, guys. 18 emotes so far. I never thought we would get here. It is really cool to see all of them kind of like together. I do kind of want to change the pepper one, but it's not bad. Okay, it's bothering me that this isn't like perfectly symmetrical. I know it's probably never going to be, but it's going to bother me if I at least don't try to make it more symmetrical. Oh, so Art and I are finally on the 3rd season of Sizzler 7. Okay. I'm ready. For a second, I was like, wait, are we talking about Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, I had to... I'm still not 100% sure, but I am pretty sure we're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay. No, Vading is telling us his good comeback story. I'm ready. I want to hear about how to beat the combo. Maybe it will help me figure out a way to team up with my brother and help him beat Art. You know, I very briefly joined a Magic the Gathering club in college. I don't think I've ever told Art was. My hand was crap. It was one card away from being a brick. Like, It's not terrible. I'm not the biggest fan of that one. But I can fix it in the liner. Just that one line from you Vading though sounds very much like a like one of those detective noir like narrations where they're like, my hand was complete crap. One card away from being a brick. Like it's a very Private Eye in the 20s detective story from you. Have you ever met a person where you're just like, you don't belong in this era? Where I knew a guy in college where everyone who met him agreed. I spoke to many people about this actually. He was like a down-to-earth reporter from like the 20s or the 30s. Like if he just walked out of a cornfield in like an old trench coat with like the Indiana Jones hat in like a nice pinstripe suit, but like a little dirty, and he had like a stubble on his face, and he had like a notepad in his hand and a pen. You'd tell him your life story. It was insane. This guy was so cool. Like it was, and he had like this really deep voice, and he only drank wild turkey, and it was insane. It was insane. He had like the tiny like small kind of like almost like the Benjamin Franklin kind of like smaller glasses that were like wire framed. He had it was insane. He either came out of a 70s porno or from like a 1930s newspaper office. It was crazy. He was a cool guy though. Okay. I need pull up my next ramen. Okay. Water. My headache started to come back. It was not pleasant. There's like Baiting, I need the rest of this story. Where did you go? Nope. No. I did not mean to do that. There we go. I forgot that when you, it. Okay, secure this first turn. I had to use my monster reborn. Okay. Oh, synchro summoning! I remember that from the anime. Oh my god. This sounds like it's about to get really bad for her. This feels like it's gonna be like just a moment for her. It's just like, did that really just fucking happen? Oh, I'm ready. I never played Yu-Gi-Oh! I collected a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards because I thought the art was pretty, and I'd come up, like, when I was like 6 is when I would do this, and I had a whole binder of them, and I would make up stories in my head, and I'd put like the cards like next to each other based on what was happening in the story. My parents just thought I liked collecting cards, and I was like building entire worlds in my tiny child mind. I remember that it mainly revolved around this like mermaid seashell archer chick and this fire wizard, and I was like, they're together, but they can't. That was like a whole thing for me as a kid. Okay, I use the Synchro Blast Wave, destroys a monster on the opponent's field so long as the Synchro monster is on my side of the field to destroy Dark Law, which stopped my banishing. Put 2 cards and attack the monster. Activate a trap card! And 2 of my life points down to the red zone. Oh my god. This sounds like it was a very short battle. This sounds terrifying. I very briefly joined a Magic the Gathering club, and Art and I were not going out at the time. So I don't know if I ever even told him that I did. I was there for 1 meeting. They made me stand up and say words because I was the only girl there. And because I was like the newest member who was joining in the middle of the fucking semester, right? And so I played against this guy, and I won, and he absolutely 100% let me win. Like, I think they were like, you guys, let her win. We have to make sure that, like, she comes back. And I never did! It just was not for me. On her next turn, she activated a card that destroyed my back row. Changed my quick effect spell. Oh my god. So you essentially halted any progress she could have made. Yeah. Get it. There we go. You're like, oh, I did it. I held the line. Oh, this is turning out to be amazing. Okay, we're gonna make these ramen noodles like stretch out a little bit. My favorite part about Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid is I read like the first 2 manga volumes, and it was legitimately like this ghost thing possessing this kid, and then like versing him in somebody else in like weird type of death games, and then if they lost they'd have to play a punishment game, which essentially just a curse forever for their life. And people died, and the Yu-Gi-Oh like card game Battle Monsters, I think, or something they called it, did come up, and he did verse some kid in his class named Kaiba with it, and Kaiba had stolen one of his cards, one of Yugi's cards. Like he stole like the Blue Eyes White Dragon that was like Yugi's grandfather's like favorite card, right? Because it was a gift, and then and he lost, and he trapped him in the card forever to be tormented for eternity by all of the monsters that Kaiba had ever banished or sacrificed to the graveyard. And then I got the third volume, and they were like, Yugi, let's play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something like that. And I was like, oh, this is just normal shit. I don't wanna watch this now. I liked it when it was weird. I was like, can we go back to that, please? If you'll notice, essentially all of my ramens feature a soft-boiled egg in them. That's because soft-boiled eggs are delicious with ramen. Make me very happy. Okay, next turn is where things get spicy. Quillbot or a doppel. Okay, I don't know what those are. Okay. Oh my god. I'm just imagining this. Did you ever watch Yu-Gi-Oh 5D, where they were like at a school for Yu-Gi-Oh players, and he had one of Yugi's like old cards, so it still had like the spirit of like the little Kirby monster in it, and he would talk to it, and everyone thought he was crazy. Yeah, that's what I'm imagining is happening in your story right now. That's how I am thinking of it. On this episode of Yu-Gi-Oh 5D, Vading versus that one friend. Where's art? Well, for these ones, these are just ramen. These are the last of the emotes, and not all of the emotes feature art. Most of them do, but not all of them. We're discussing that maybe. Something. I'm thinking of that weird cursed monster that they had, where like it was like 5 different cards that you had to collect and have all of in your hand in order to be able to play it, and it unleashed like this evil demon monster. And Yugi had like 3 of them. I remember, so when my brother was younger and he was first getting into anime, they put the original Yu-Gi-Oh series on Netflix, and I was like, oh, we should try watching this, right? He was like, yeah, let's watch it. So we start watching it, and they get to like the island for like the gamers for like the game, right? And the American characters showed up, and we were like, we feel a little stereotyped. It brought Doppel Warrior from the graveyard. Oh my god. This is amazing. I don't even understand what half of these words mean, but I understand enough to picture what's going on. And I just, as someone who has seen this played out in front of them in a Magic the Gathering card game that I played against Art, it is horrifying to watch. Oh my god. But yeah, so like the American character in the original Yu-Gi-Oh anime, we're watching it, we're just like, I I feel a little less American for the fact that I don't have blonde hair and tan skin and wear sunglasses and swear a lot and have an American flag bandana on my goddamn forehead all the goddamn time. It was so weird. I truly water. I was too excited. I was laughing too much and talking too much, and my throat decided to kill me. I like watching animes and seeing them just randomly bring in like an American character and being like, all right, let's see where this goes. How loud is the American character gonna be? How sexual is the American female going to be? How quickly are they going to fall in love with the main Japanese character? Because they are so different from all the other men they've ever met. Oh god. Okay, you synchro summoned one of your tuners on the board, brought Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which is my boss monster, and I feel like I made... Oh, you faked it! You faked her out! Oh my god. Oh. So you faked yourself out, and then you were like, wait, no, this is good. So, when I was my senior year of high school, I went to my mom's friend. She had like sons that were around my age, and I went to their grad party. They were a pair of twins, so they had their grad party together at their mom's house, and it was a bunch of like their like some of their friends who were a couple years older, and my brother went, and my brother was probably about like 10 or 11 at the time, and he had brought all of his Pokemon cards, because at this time he essentially brought all of his Pokemon cards with him wherever he went in a tin lunchbox. My mom had specifically been like, do not bring your Pokemon cards, no one else will be there who plays Pokemon. Why do you have them? He was like, because I want to play Pokemon. And she just gave up on arguing with him, as some mothers will do when they've had the argument a billion times. He brings his Pokemon cards, and we're sitting at like the picnic tables they have set up, food is done, and like I am essentially I'm just trying to just get through the day. I'm just like, I don't know these people, I don't know these guys, I'll talk to the adults, right? And some of them come up, and I'm sitting like next to my brother, and I did not have a smartphone at this time, so I'm just kind of just being bored, and they come up and they start trying to talk to me, and I'm just kind of like, hello, I'm probably never gonna see you again after today. And they start talking to my brother. Oh yes, satellite synchron token with a Dapple token to take Tatsunoko! Okay. Summon Trishula! Oh my god! That is monster. That is a monster play right there. That is terrible. It's so good. Anyway, so these guys, they start talking to my little brother. So I'm definitely like tuning in a bit more, because I'm like, I'm like, these are a bunch of weird college guys. Do not talk to my little brother, right? One of them is like, oh, I've never played Pokemon. Will you show me how to play the card game Pokemon? And I watched my brother explain to this college guy in a Hawaiian shirt how to play Pokemon card game, give him some of his extra cards to like play a match with him, and then my brother, 10 years old, utterly destroy this grown man in Pokemon. When this guy was definitely like, this would be super fun to play with a kid. He was like, he thought he was gonna win. He thought it was gonna be easy and he was gonna win, and my brother just wiped the floor with him while explaining like, oh, see, you did this, so like, it was amazing. I get that same like vicarious win through art whenever he beats someone in Magic the Gathering so completely, or in Smash. That was my it was hilarious. I think part of it was because then later the same guy and his buddy both separately asked for my number, and I was like, no. I'm pretty sure like he was trying to like find a way to talk to me by talking to my brother, and he just failed on all fronts. Just like this guy. So sad. Ah. It was truly hilarious. Maybe he thought I'd give him my number because I took pity on him because my little brother destroyed him in a car. Ah! That did not work either. I feel really old. I know that I am not, but I constantly have moments where I'm like, I don't feel in my 20s. I feel like I'm like 30. Show no mercy! Oh god. Maybe it's just because almost all of my friends for my entire life have always been at least like 2 years older than me. But I just... Oh yeah, Art has never been the guy to let his girlfriend win at a game ever in his life. Ever. This also means that every win that I have pulled from his clutches has been earned, though. Honestly, I have never gone out with a guy who would just let me win at games. What is that like? Oh my gosh. That is a better version of the quote that psycho chicks will put out where you don't deserve, if you can handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Bitch, you can't handle yourself at your worst. That's why it's called your worst. You haven't dated a lot of men, which means you have dated at least one. Some things about Art's past that I don't even know. Zero is not an amount, it is the absence of an amount, okay? I don't go around and tell people, I have not dated many women. I say, I have never dated a girl in my life, they scare me. I've tried to date women. They're very confusing. There is this one time, besides the time I possibly might have almost been baited into getting kidnapped, there is this other time. Black is not the absence of, okay. I can hear you laughing in the background. You know that Art knows certain phrases that will just immediately set me off, and he's just like, how quickly can I use this? I'm gonna talk about how I almost dated girls. Ha! Okay, so there was this girl in college. I had a very, very big crush on her. But she was in a relationship with a different girl. Also, she was like best friends with one of my very good friends at the time. And I was like, I can't sleep with her, because I was going through this phase in my life where I would casually date / sleep with people, and then as soon as they were like, let's go on a real date, it'd be like, we agreed to no feelings and break up. Which is a really shitty thing to do, but almost everyone's probably done that at some point in their life. Anyways, I was like, I don't want to do that to her because it would ruin, could potentially ruin my friendship with this other person that I had a very good relationship with, and I did not want to ruin that. I also thought she was way out of my league. I did not think that in any case that I would be on her radar. Also, a lot of people tell me that they're very surprised and shocked that I'm not straight. And I'm like, okay, well, just because I've mostly dated dudes doesn't mean I can't have other interests. Thank you. And so I was at this party. This party was actually at my house at the time, right? Because the roommate who was close friends with her, had thrown the party, which was super cool. So she was there. So I was also definitely there. And my other roommate, who was a little drunk by this point, decided she wanted to play music and have people dance. And I like dancing. And I had had a few drinks, so I'm dancing. And this girl I have a crush on, she's like, oh, will you teach me how to dance? I'm like, sure. I don't know how to do that, but sure. So we're dancing. She's putting her hands on my hips a lot. She's doing a lot of the sway hip, like she's definitely a better dancer than I am. I'm like, why did you need me to show you anything? And she's only dancing with me, and I'm like, oh, we're dancing. Dancing is fun. Dancing is cool. Like, trying really hard not to push any boundaries because I'm like, must be respectful of friends' friends. She's very hot. She's just probably drunk. And then a little bit later, she's very pointedly talking to me and telling me about how she just recently broke up with her girlfriend and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh, that's really sad. That really sucks. I'm sorry. Like, do you wanna, like, we're talking, we're making plans to hang out and stuff. And eventually I just leave the party. I like just go up to my room alone, close the door. I'm like, I'm tired. I go to bed. A month fucking later, my roommate was like, oh, she thought that you just weren't into her. I was like, what is, no! Girls are really, like, if she had just told me, if she had just been like, hey, even if she had been as subtle of, hey, do you want to go upstairs? It would have been like, oh, that's what. People, ladies, people, if you're flirting with someone, tell them of your intentions so that there are no missed opportunities. I still think about that really sadly because she got back with her girlfriend like a month later. And I was like that month, I think, because then she talked to the roommate about it, where she was like, almost, but because that didn't happen, I guess I started talking to my ex again, and that's when my roommate was like, what the fuck, Ginger? What the fuck? Like, I didn't know. Sometimes I am a dumb. I just get that I hear that complaint a lot from guys I talk to who are like, I can never tell what a woman is thinking. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. I mean, I couldn't either. Almost done with the ramens, and then we will be drawing sexy ladies. Or I will be. You guys will just be here. I keep forgetting it's Saturday. Like, I woke up this morning and I almost had a panic attack because I was like, oh my god, I'm late for work. And I was like, no, it's Saturday. And then I had to remind myself that it was Saturday, like every hour on the hour. And then halfway through today, Saturday, I'm like cooking and doing some dishes. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I have a stream today. What time is it? It was like 4 o'clock. I was not gonna be late, but I was definitely like kind of out of it all day. Probably because I was a little hungover. This one's got one of the Naruto ramen fish cakes. I have gone to the Asian markets in our city, and I've gotten fish cakes before. I have never seen one of the Naruto spiral fish cakes before in my life. In real life. Where are they? What type of fish is pink? I'm just now realizing that's why a lot of ramen noodle mascots have the swirlies on their cheeks. Because of the fucking fish cakes. But they're good. How did I not realize that before? I don't know. Is my stream frozen? it was as epic as you told me it was, and I am imagining it in full Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D anime. Like that time when he defeats that one girl who's like in the blue dorms, right? And he's in the red dorms, which means he's really bad, and she's in the blue dorms, which means that she's like amazing. And he defeats her and she just loses her shit. Oh. Well, I was imagining it as Yu-Gi-Oh! GX then. I thought that was Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. I'm sorry. I remember seeing like the latest. It's not the latest anymore, but I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago, I saw like the latest iteration of the version of Yu-Gi-Oh! That they were doing. And it was so weird. I was like, this isn't even Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore. Why are they on like hoverboards? What's happening? I'm pretty sure that was Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, where it was like the guy who had like all of the hair. And the friend who had like the blue-white hair and he had glasses. You're just like, excuse me, I'm about to have a moment, and you just start playing it, you're just like, yeah, anime. Ds is the one with the there were motorcycle Yu-Gi-Ohs? What did they do on the motorcycles? How did the motorcycles play into the card game? What? I do not remember the motorcycles in any Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever. The brown-haired Yu-Gi-Oh! Red Dorm guy from that he was the first male anime character I ever had a crush on, like as a kid. He would play Yu-Gi-Oh! On. He was cool. Oh my god, this bowl looks terrible. Look at how slanted it is. Jesus fucking Christ. What was I doing? You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna cheat a little bit. Cappy. Oh my god. What? Well, yeah, cause children can't ride motorcycles. Oh my god. That is just insane to me. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think it makes it cooler. I think if they went back to the whole murder games thing, Yu-Gi-Oh! The series would be a much, much cooler series. No! I hit the button. Give it, okay. I almost used the wrong tool. Go back to Yu-Gi-Oh! With the punishment games. That's what I want. These swirls are coming out a little weird looking, but Like, it shouldn't. No. These are not the swirls that I usually like to put on, but I'm feeling a little lazy. Okay. See, that looks so much better. I kind of miss being in middle school and being able to just purely love and obsess over anime characters. I am an adult now, and every time I do it, part of my brain is just like, no. That's a little, they are a fictional character. You like swirls in your bowls? Swirl, 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 swirl. Oh shit. Okay. You guys. After this, we will have one more ramen bowl, and then it'll be sexy girl time. That sounds so bad. The shape of this meat that I've made looks kind of like toast. Actually, we're gonna do the fish cake first. I guess that's fair. I have definitely met some people. Like, there's acceptable behavior for children. There is unacceptable behavior for adults. I don't know. Because I've met some adults where it's like, you belong back in high school. What are you doing? But that's mostly just because they're destroying other people's lives. How are you doing, Gecko? Thanks for tuning in. Ugh. Now that I'm all excited and streaming, my headache is coming back. It's not nice. Most of the time, unfortunately, it's been people I have had to live with. I'm like, why are you like this? It is 100% artificial fish cake. It is not. Oh my god. Art is one of the most adultiest adults I've ever met. Honestly. Oh, okay. I've been getting a lot of ads to watch that. And I think it's interesting that it's from the creators of Critical Role, because Critical Role, as like the D&D series, it could be considered like a large collaboration. So I'm wondering like each person's part in it. And the previews I've seen have looked good. I haven't watched it. The more something's advertised to me, the more my brain just rebels and goes, no, I will not. I talked about, what is Kamabu? I don't know. Gecko, I talked about how I used to watch you play World of Warcraft on dial-up internet. Those are some of my favorite internet memories. Oh, okay. So I've heard some where it's entertaining and some where unsure. Okay. I know that Art wants to do kind of like a D&D stream / YouTube series because he loves D&D. Oh, okay. Kababuko. Kababuko. Kamabuko. With the swirl, the Essentially, in my brain, it's the Naruto fish cake. Yes, it is a lot of work. I did not start playing D&D until I met Art. Because I did not have anyone to play with. Kamabuko. Okay. I never watched Critical Role either. I've seen stuff from it, and I've never seen the episodes, but I had a lot of my roommates in college who were obsessed with it, because that's when it started to come out. And they all played D&D all the time. Oh, okay. But it is an interesting thing, and it does look like people enjoyed it, like it was a fun time. I've seen the ones with the white center and the pink outer layer. I always thought that those were like, radishes though. Those were fish cakes? I've never seen the ones with green outer layers. Kamaboko. Okay. I think it would be really cool if Art did a D&D like YouTube series. Partially because Art has been playing D&D since he was very, very little. He's very good at it. Oh, daikon is just all white? Okay. I know that in English, like, daikon radish is a specific type of radish that's native to Japan. But in Japanese, it's probably just daikon radish. Art has, like, the player's handbook almost memorized for D&D 3.5. I've seen him do that whole, like, no, it's page 46 on the left, right column, second paragraph. Like, it's terrifying how good he is at D&D. I think it would be really, I would not be part of that though. Oh, okay. That's really cool. They've expanded our world food section in the supermarket where we get a lot of our groceries, so I don't have to go to the city an hour away to go to the Asian market to get everything now. Nice. But if I did like a D&D series or streams, I would help a lot with like the background setup and technical stuff. I would not be part of that because I have a hard time with people. Yeah, that would be part of the issue. Actually, Art and I have talked about, like, because he knows D&D so well, and as part of, like, a creative exercise for him is coming up with, like, some of the storylines and stuff, because he used to DM and he used to do it really well. Like, some storylines in some world and, like, me making the art for some assets. So if he wanted to broadcast like a D&D thing, we would first make our own entire things for it. And that would be my part of the D&D stuff, is doing all of the art. Maybe if it was like a YouTube series rather than doing it live, maybe making some like animations or character art. But yeah, we've talked about it a lot. It's just a very big plan that we would have to do once I had more time in my schedule. But I can get some pretty good, they have nori at the supermarket in town here. They only have like one brand of it, but they have multiple brands of different types of Asian rice, and I have like my favorite one, so. The comeback with the big squirrel is called Naruto! Yay! Calling it the Naruto fish cake wasn't wrong! Now, was it called Naruto before the anime? Or did they name the character Naruto after that? Now I need to know that. Is he literally just named Fish Cake? How mean would that be? To be like, you're dying, your kid's about to be an orphan, you're like, everyone in the village will hate him. What should we name our baby? Fish Cake. my god, that's amazing. That makes me very happy. Oh, that's actually really cool. My last name is actually a city in the state that I live in. My family has been here since the fucking beginning. Haha! It's actually a really well-known city, so I'm not just gonna like advertise my name out there. Like, this is giving out a lot of information. Your middle name is an adjective? I hope it's... I don't know, but as soon as you said that, my brain was like, what if Spectre's middle name is blue? And then the rest of my brain was like, that's a fucking color, you dumbass. Ah. So, I think as... What the fuck? My computer is... Okay. So my middle name, my first name is very short. It was very easy for me to learn how to spell, like, as a kid. Like, one of the first things you learn how to spell is your name, right? Oh, that's really cool. My dad picked out my name because of how it sounded. My family is very big on sounds. We have something called the yell test, where if you want to name your kid something, you have to test their name by yelling their first and their middle name together and see how easily it is to scream or yell it, because that's how you know you're in trouble. That's how I always knew I was in trouble, is if they used my first name and my middle name. Like, nobody ever used that just for funsies. It was only when I was in trouble, or I was about to be in trouble. So my first name was really easy for me to learn how to spell. My last name was a little harder because it was longer, but because, you know, they always put your first name with your last name, I just learned how to spell it. Like, it was one of the other first words I learned how to spell. My middle name is really long, so it wasn't put on like any placard, like little place cards or anything. So I didn't know how to spell my middle name for the longest time, and I remember, I don't think I learned how to spell my middle name until I was like 6 or 7. Because it's not a super common middle name anymore. It's not a super common name anymore. But I remember when I did learn how to spell it, and then like distant members of my family told me that I was spelling it wrong, and I lost my mind. Yeah, I was very... I know how to spell my middle name, guys! And I will hear no arguments. Yeah. Also, something that's kind of cool that just like my immediately family and I did. My dad and I have our first names start with the same letter. So when my brother was born, my mom was like, he has to have the same first letter as me. He was literally named Fishky. Oh, that's amazing. So when my brother was born, my mom was like, his name has to start with the first letter as my first name. So that's what they did. So it's like we're like a little bit of a set, and I always really liked that as a kid. I thought it was super cool, especially because it was also like my parents did it on purpose. Eventually, actually, I think my name is on my Instagram. So if you want to know, you find it there. But yeah, if you want to be lazy, you could just slowly piece it together, which is more work in the long term. I really should take it off of my Instagram because I don't usually go by my full name on the internet anymore. Trying to build up the brand Gingersnap draws. And that kind of defeats the purpose if people are immediately like, oh, but why don't you go by this? Spectre's like, I've already found you. Spectre, I'm not gonna lie, if you suddenly showed up where Art and I lived, I I would not be surprised. Laziness does end up being more, yeah, usually, yeah. Like, I would not be surprised or even really scared. I'd just be like, yeah, did you not know that Spectre knows where we live in our entire life history? Oh my god. Please do not show up at our house. Oh, okay, so I wasn't born yet. I'm safe. What's really exciting is I'm not yes, like that's part of so when you meet people on the internet and you don't ever really like see them. I don't know if anyone else does this, but you build up kind of like a mental image, like just acute information of them you kind of place in your brain, and so part of that image for me is just like if Spectre just knows everything. Like that's part of my mental image of the concept of Spectre is he just like if Spectre came out and he was like, I know exactly how all your baby like where all your baby teeth are buried, I'd be like, yeah, of course you do. I don't bury my baby teeth. No. They're good mental images. If I have a bad mental image of someone, I usually dwell on it very briefly, and then my brain is just like, nah. Does that make sense? I don't know what kind of mental image people build up of me from the internet, but I know it is not good. Essentially, I have, through years of anxiety and depression, I've learned very quickly to recognize when bad thoughts are coming and to stop thinking about them. I tried to explain this to Art years ago, and it's very hard to explain, but aw, that's really cute. But something that I've done since I was very, very young, like for as long as I can remember, I have always taken like words and concepts and essentially assigned them like a mental image in my head, which sounds really weird and it's really hard to explain. What a cute little synapses and neural network. Like I would do it with colors. I'm just gonna stop drawing for a minute and talk about this. In my mind, each color had like a different entire personality and a little bit of a backstory, and it would interact with other colors in a different way. And I would always arrange like the markers I got in a standard like color set in that order of interaction. And what I would do is I would put blue all the way on the left side because blue was a boy, and blue did not like yellow, and yellow was all the way on the right side because yellow loved blue. But it was like unrequited, and yellow was kind of crazy. She was like evil, right? And red was dating blue, so red went right next to blue, and then purple was blue's best friend, so purple went in front of red. So it was from left to right, it was blue, red, purple, and then it would go orange. No. Green. It would then go green. It would, orange and then green, because I haven't done this in a very long time. So it was blue, red, purple, orange. Because orange was best friends with red, but it was also like cousins with yellow. So it was a little bit on yellow's side, but it didn't want It was so weird. This was just like what I would do as a kid. Like this was my brain. And then after, because they would always put like brown and black in like a standard color set, which I thought was weird as a kid. But then brown would be next because brown doesn't like fighting. Black doesn't care, but black likes chaos, so black goes next. And then it would go green, because green was in love with yellow, but knew that yellow was doing a bad thing. And then there was yellow, so I could keep blue and yellow as far apart from each other as possible. Like that was what I would do as a kid, and I would freak out if they were in like a different order. Something else that I would do is I did it with numbers, and it was numbers like 1 through but no, like these are like, yeah. I did it with numbers, and I did it specifically with numbers like 1 through 15, because I was about as high as I could count for a long time, like as a kid. So one, I remember I made like this weird story in my head as a kid where it was like 1 fell off a bridge, like a little stone bridge, and like hurt their knee. So 1 was facing away from the rest of the numbers, and 2 was facing 1 because 2 wanted to make sure 1 was okay, and then 3 was facing that way too to make sure that 1 was okay, because 3 was like the older sibling, 2 was like the one that was like the same age as 1, and then 4 was like the oldest sibling, slash kind of like the mom friend, and then 5 was facing away from those other numbers because it didn't really care that 1 fell off the bridge and hurt its knee. It just wanted to make sure that 4 knew it was there so that it looked like it cared about 1 because it was trying to impress 4. Then 6 was good friends with 5, and 6 liked 7, but 7 was dating 8, and 8 was kind of like the cool guy who didn't really give a shit. And then there was 9, and 9 was mean. 9 was an asshole, and they were friends with 8, but 8 wasn't really sure why they were friends with 9 anymore. They were like kind of a dick, and 7 and 6 did not really like 9, but they put up with 9 because they were cool with 8. Then there was 10, and then there was 10 who was like this, like kind of like the teacher slash overarching, like they were a double digit, so they were the adult. And then we get into 11, and 11 was like good friends with 10 and was like almost a single digit number. So they were kind of like the dopey sweet friend, and 10 kind of was just like kind of friendly with 11, and then there was 12, and 12 thought that it was a lot cooler of a number than the single digits because it was a double digit, but it was called 12, and it was an 18 number. So it wasn't like 11 and 12 were just kind of like, they were outside of their own grouping. And then there was 13 who just kind of put up with like 11 and 12, but was really annoyed by them. And then 14 was kind of like too cool for all of it. And then my brain, like that, I've never been able to separate that concept from the numbers. Like that's been in my head since I was a little kid, and I don't know what to do with it. And I thought everyone was like this until I was talking to Art about it like a couple years ago, and he was like, I never did that. What the fuck? And that was my life. I heard that it's something that children will do sometimes to help them understand what's going on in the world. But I've never been able to not do it. Like another thing that'll sometimes happen with my head is and like sometimes like the numbers and the letters will like combine to create like places. Does that make sense? Or like different weird little stories. And I was terrible at math. Yeah, I didn't do anything with it. Like, that was just my brain. I was just like, all right. And then I never told anyone until I got older, and I told Art about it. So one of the things with, like, the mental images of people that I meet on the internet, if I know someone's name, like, my brain will start equating, like, that name with them. And I know that's kind of like normal. You're like, well, yeah, that's their name. Like, you think of them. But literally, like, Art's real name in real life, like, I've met people who have his name, and my brain has just rejected it and just been like, no, you have to come up with a nickname. You have to call them something else. You have to call them by their last name because Art's name is his, and it does not apply to anyone else. I don't like inanimate objects, indirect objects. because English is my first language, I've never had to go through the experience of like learning it and trying to understand our grammar. It's fucked up, I know. But I have heard that depending on what language is your native language, English can be incredibly hard to learn, especially American English. We have so much slang. But if you learn Latin, you can then learn any Latin-based language because they are all so similar. Okay, well then, I don't know what you mean by indirect object. You mean like inanimate? I'm really worried that like I'm gonna go to a therapist someday and trying to explain all of this to them, and they're gonna be like, huh, so your brain has never aged from that of a child. Or they're gonna be like, you're completely normal, why the fuck are you here? Like, You gave in at, oh, okay, so indirect, it's like, past tense? The only other language course I've ever taken is German, and German is very straightforward. They have clear rules. They're like, this is this. That is it. Oh, okay. Oh, so it's not the object that you're interacting with. Because you're interacting with the apple, but then Ginger is interacting with the apple. So like the verb is applying to apple, and then Ginger is the. Am I understanding it correctly? I don't understand my own language. Okay. Can you believe I was almost an English major? I'm really good at coming up with concepts, and I'm actually really good with grammar. I do not have a knack for learning technical terms, which infuriates Art to no end. Because I will explain an entire concept when he says a word, and I'm like, I don't understand, but this is what. No, I can understand having a really hard time with that, especially like as a kid, where you're like, but I did it because this, and it's like, okay, but that's not what we're dealing with. And you're like, words are hard. Words are just conceptual. Language is still a very new thing for us as a species. Did you know that you can learn to read and write at any age, but you have to learn in order to learn how to communicate and speak effectively, like with words, you have to learn how to speak and interact with people who are speaking to you and around you from between the ages of birth to 5. Because the part of our brain that understands language is so new, and it's a learned thing. It's not something that we inherently like figure out how to do, like walking, that we can do on our own. I think that's really cool. They know this because of children who have like either been in very neglectful, abusive situations, who never learned how to speak, like the boy who was essentially locked in a room for 5 years and only given meals and never interacted with. He never learned how to talk, or like the children who very early in their life would go through some tragic accident or just run away and become feral. I always thought those stories were really interesting. Trying to draw a ramen cup. Tipped over a ramen cup. This is not going. I always felt really sad because when I was growing up, my parents read to me like stories every night until I was like almost 12 or 13. I think like when I got into middle school, we would just have like 20 minutes of just sitting kind of like in my room, and I would draw or I would read like a book silently, and one of my parents would be there as like part of the like nighttime routine. Because my brother and I were 7 years apart, when they stopped reading books to me, they stopped reading books to him at bedtime. For bedtime stories. So I always felt like really guilty about that. I mean, it's not my fault, and it's not even my parents or my brother's fault. It's just like because we had such a big age difference, it was never brought up of, are you still doing that? I communicate through. This is me just talking at you. So sometimes, like if my brother and I were sleeping over at like, my mom's parents' house, or my parents were like busy with, like, there are very rare cases, and it sounds very sad, but it wasn't, very rare cases where I would put my little brother to bed and like turn on his music, make sure that like he had his teeth brushed and everything, and I would try to make sure to read him a story. That's something I've always really liked to do. I liked to read to, like, my little brother and my little cousins. If I keep talking about this, okay. Oh, I like to think I was a good sibling. I'd love to hear his opinion on that. That is another thing that, even if I don't have kids, is something that I've learned, is you can do your best to be a good influence on the people around you or the people who depend on you, but ultimately you are not the judge of that. You can only do your best, and the person who is affected by it is going to tell you if you did it right or not. And sometimes it sucks. Stream started off with, let's see how many times we can go to jail. Now it's, be good to your family. Oh God. Now, I know you didn't ask for this, but I'm drawing like a spilled ramen cup. Oh yeah, you can absolutely do. Sometimes doing your best causes you to fail, because your best is, yeah. Anyway, I don't want to cry, so we're gonna stop. I know you didn't ask for this kind of emote, but I'm drawing one of like a ramen cup spilled over, and that can be your sad emote. And I am doing the perspective of this cup all fucking wrong. Welcome to Ginger's stream. You might laugh a lot. We might make you question your life choices. You might cry. She might go on a weird rant about how crazy she was as a kid and how that has never worn off. I'm laughing too much. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. I just needed to give my throat a break for just a second, because it was punishing me. So have you guys ever been in a building that just didn't feel real? Like you're in there and you're like, this place is so weird. I've been in a building like that once. So for one of the jobs that I very briefly, I was like interviewed and started the hiring process for working at an adult mental health facility. Eventually, I didn't end up working there because they essentially wanted me to do a full-time job for just above minimum wage while I was still going to school, and I was like, no. And part of the job is I had to get fingerprinted. I've actually had to do this for like quite a few jobs, but this was the only one where I got fingerprinted at like this really weird place. Art had to drive me out there, and it was a building where like it looked like a one-story building. Like it looked like it did not have an upper floor. But I got in there and I immediately saw stairs going up to a second, which was really weird. I was like, okay. It was like old oil paintings with ships and bottles everywhere, with creepy marionette clown dolls on tables in random places. And it wasn't like fully lit, like it was all very nice and clean, but the building, like it was all painted blue, and it had like a dark blue like sea carpet, and it had like wall trim, kind of like how you would see in like a very old Victorian like house where it was like very ornate wall trim at the top and at the bottom. And then it was like different offices, and there were mirrors in like weird shadowy corners. Like I swear to God, I walked in and I was like, I feel like I stepped into like a place that doesn't exist. And I don't remember what that company was called. I can't remember where that building was. And I've tried to talk to Art about it like a year later, because like it just popped in my head for some reason. He was like, I don't remember that at all. I don't know if he even remembers it now. But it was so weird, and I want to go back. I just want to like somehow break into this building and just go up those stairs, because I really wanted to, but the place to get fingerprinted was on like the first floor. I really wanted to go up the stairs because I was like, I was sure this building did not look like it had a second floor. Like it looked like one of those kind of like low flat bank buildings. It was so weird, and not all of the lights were on. So like the staircase was kind of like shrouded in darkness as you went up it. It was a weird place. I think about it still sometimes. I know it was real, because I had to take like time out of my schedule to go there. Because if it wasn't such a hassle to get there, I swear it was a dream. Because I will have weird dreams like that. Ratio of floor to space that was causing anxiety. It's so weird. It is so weird that there are places like that. There was this there was this building that in a suburb that Art and I used to live in, and it was like just towards like the downtown area of the city. So it wasn't a house, it was like this huge building with like, it looked kind of like a that's terrifying. It was this huge building that kind of looked like the evil lair of like a very minor supervillain, right? And it was all like this weird like mustard colored brick, and it had the AT&T logo, and it had a door, but the door was like it had a place where a door should be, but there was just brick there, and it had no windows. I think it was one of those like service or like cell phone tower stations that like people have said that they've seen in like their areas sometimes, but for the longest time I had no idea what it was. I was like, what is this place? Or the NSA building, maybe. But it had the AT&T logo, like, for the phones. For a second, like, I said that, and I was like, AT&T is still the company, right? This looks hideous! What am I even drawing? Bless you. Bless you. I don't know if you guys can hear that. No, it had the logo. That's why, like, later when I heard about like these like weird service buildings that like phone companies will have, I was like, oh, that's what it was. But for the longest time I was obsessed with it, and Art was just like, I don't know, but you're not going there. What the fuck? Also, since moving to the west side of the state, I have never been more than a mile away from a cemetery. Or I've never lived more than a mile away from a cemetery. It's so weird. They have so many over here, and they're all so old. We used to live next to this really cool cemetery, and it was a really bad neighborhood. But I really liked that I could like walk like half a block and be like in this really old cemetery with like brick walls around it and like tons of mausoleums. Oh, it was so cool. That's weird. Okay. Just switching centers? Okay. I mean, oh, excuse me. I'm trying to think of like other weird places I've been that didn't feel like they were real or existed. There was this really cool hotel I stayed in with my mom that probably doesn't exist anymore. So my mom, my brother, and I, we all went on a road trip. My dad could not get time off of work for this family vacation, which really sucks, but sometimes that happens. But I was like, I want to say 13 or 14. And we were going all through our state because we wanted to go to like all the state parks, which was really cool. And it wasn't something that like my brother and I had ever been able to experience. Like we'd been out of state a lot, but we hadn't experienced cool things in our state. But on our way back, we stayed a night in this hotel that was so old. Like it was something out of time. It still had it had radiators in every room, and the rooms were tiny. And it had so really old big buildings. They used to have essentially fire hoses like in the walls or like in the staircases, because the fire hoses on the fire truck weren't long enough. They would like, if they had to go inside and fight fires, they would like take the start of the hose and attach it to the this is what was explained to me at the hotel, because I was like, what is this? Attach it to the thingamajig, the outside water source, and they'd bring it in and they'd attach more hoses, right? So they wouldn't have to carry so many feet of hose. It still had that. They were still in like almost pristine condition. And we were like the only people in this entire hotel except for the woman who ran it. And my mom was like really freaked out about it. She was like, this is not a good place. I loved it. I was like, I want to live here. I want to live in this ghost hotel. This is where I live now. Goodbye. You can leave me here. She doesn't remember the name of it, and we've never been able to go back. Like, it probably closed. It did not look like it was doing super well. Oh, a different time. So this was back when I was in high school and I had my high school boyfriend. And we would go to like the next town over to like their little like downtown town square area, because it was so much nicer than ours. And it was only like a 15-minute drive. But one time like we went, and I had a curfew of like 9 or 10 p.m., right? And it was starting to get dark. Hot water piped into. Oh my god, that's terrifying. So that you have a bidet and it's also like steams up your butt. So we went to the little downtown area. We had a good time, and we were leaving, and it was starting to get dark. Like it was dusk time, because it was like 9:30, almost 10 o'clock. And we get into the car, and it starts pouring rain. And neither of us had a smartphone, so neither of us had GPS, and we didn't know the area super well. So at one point we got lost very briefly. And he turned down like the wrong street, and it was a street that was like in a woodsy area. And he turns, and we see like a bunch of like lights for like what looks like maybe like a really big kind of like old hotel building, and maybe a gas station or a convenience store. But it is like raining cats and dogs. We can barely see, and I just super creepy feeling. And he realizes that was where he got turned around, so he turns back around, and I'm like, hey, we should come here in the daytime. This is cool, like with all the trees and everything. And I was like, and maybe we can like maybe this is part of the downtown. He's like, yeah, sure, we can totally go. The next weekend, we made the exact same like wrong turn, but this time we did it on purpose that we did before, and it looked completely different. Like there were like those buildings weren't even there. It was just gone. It was so weird. It was probably just us not remembering that area. But for the longest time, I was like, what would have happened if we kept going in the wrong direction? Would we have been trapped in a parallel universe? Would we have died? Is this the Twilight Zone? Okay, but if you have hot water in your toilet, it probably makes your shit smell even worse than normal because it's like cooking. That's probably why we don't have hot water in our toilet. Oh, it's so gross. Just imagining what the smell might be like. Just no. I will take a cold toilet. Today we talked about how we should all do crime and sexual education. Yeah, that's fair. Like, you'd have to have, like, some type of heating system in your toilet to keep the water warm. I mean, unless, like, that's the point, is, like, you want the cold water in the toilet, but the bidet has, like, hot water pumping through. I have heard of heated toilet seats, and I am really scared, because I'm like, how would you clean those? I feel like a heated toilet seat is just super gross. I'm not gonna lie, if I used the toilet and flushed it and steam started coming out, I'd be like, I broke it! What happened? I'm about to die. Like, I would think that I destroyed something. Or that it was very sick and I needed immediately to go to the hospital because it steams when I use the bathroom. You're like, this model is obviously broken. Please take it back. So I've never tried a bidet. I've also never tried one of those magic fancy Japanese toilets that like talk to you and like will play music. I heard they're insane. I knew a girl in middle school who like her parents had immigrated over from Japan, so over the holidays she would sometimes go to Japan to talk to her family, and this was before like Japanese toilets were all the rage. It was back when they were mostly still just in Japan, and she told us about them, and we thought that she was lying. We were like, that's insane. I'm driving it to the nearest toilet cellar. Excuse me, are you a toilet salesman? Take this back. It's bad. Or maybe they did do it on purpose. Maybe they're like, we have to have our hotel stand out. Heated toilet water. Oh, okay. You're like, is this just my room? Do I have to pay extra for this? I feel special. Oh, okay. Must add more noodles. Just draw squiggles. We got so many noodles. So much squiggle. I'm realizing that there might be a significant lag over like what you guys see me draw versus what I'm. It also looks like it's just like just suddenly like a strong. No, okay, it matches. It just doesn't, I guess my computer is the one that's lagging, maybe? I don't know. Someday I won't have any technical difficulty. When hell freezes over. Oh, so there is... The state I live in is Michigan, which is pretty fucking obvious by the way we talk. And there is a town... Can I get that on a shirt? My life is a technical difficulty. There's a town in Michigan called Hell. Literally spelled Hell. And, it's not a very big town. It's very small. And the only claim to fame it has is this really good ice cream shop. Like, it's known as a really good ice cream shop. And they sell t-shirts that say hell has frozen over. So anytime somebody's like, when hell freezes over, I'm like, ah, it has. Ooh. I'm gonna try to remember that phrase. Maybe I'll make it into a shirt. My life is a technical difficulty. Your friend wanted... What shirt did they want? What kind of shirt? What was on the shirt? What does... Oh god. Okay. I was like, what does that mean? It's not a bad shirt. Yeah, they were probably like, Jesus Christ, I've been in this place for so long. I actually became like really close with the head of the printmaking department and my main professor in college, and he had been at the school since it started. He would tell me all kinds of weird drama. I think someone might have taken offense at it back then too. I remember when I worked at that pizza place on Fridays and Saturday nights, sometimes, because we were right on the street with all the bars, we would get bar crawls for like different departments or like different majors, and they would usually have shirts that were like some weird pun, and on the back would be like, biology, class of 2020, no, I'm sorry, 2016, bar crawl. Yeah. I think the only issue is that like I didn't know what 16 meant, and I was like, so I couldn't totally get the joke. But if it was like known in your college, it'd be like a fun gag item for a little bit. Yeah, we didn't really have like that in the art department, really. Or if we did, it was like with only specific majors. Artists are very competitive, awful. They truly are. Like, you're like, make friends in your foundation classes. Why? We are all competing for the same, like, 20 spots in the art major. We're not gonna be friends. And then as soon as you get into the major you want, like, your major is superior. All other majors are awful. Everyone in the art building, we would all just communally, like, suffer during finals. That was, like, the one time we could bring everyone together. Oh, or at Thanksgiving. The art department at my college would, do a big Thanksgiving thing on Thanksgiving for all of the students who were, like, still on campus, where you could bring a dish to pass, and like, everyone would, like, eat together. And I always thought it was really cool. I didn't get to do it, because Thanksgiving's a really big holiday in my family, so I was always with family on that. But it was a really cool event. At one point, the department got so big, though, that they had to, they didn't cancel it, but they did, like, essentially, like, only a certain number of people could sign up to be there. And then they would, like, do a sign up for, like, they did a Christmas one or something. And it was a bunch of art people, so, like, yeah, like, a lot of the things, like, vegan cauliflower mashed potatoes that aren't really, stuff like that. But they would have, like, regular stuff, too, because we weren't all like that. I say that, like, derogatorily. It's just that the people in the art building who were like that were really annoyed about it. I have friends who are vegetarians and vegans, and they're super cool. But then I've also met ones where I'm like, I don't think we're going to be friends. Your entire personality is the things you put into your body. I had a roommate who was on a keto diet. I could talk about the keto diet for days. I don't support it. I do not. Unless your doctor tells you you need to be on a specific diet for health reasons because you are allergic to or have a bad reaction to certain foods, I don't think you should be cutting, like, certain things out of your diet. Anyways, I had a roommate who was on the keto diet, and he would preach about it, like, every chance he got. And I can't go on a no-carb diet. I have to go get tested for this. I have to go get tested for, hypoglycemia, which is very similar to diabetes, but it's essentially like, hey, you have to eat, like, every 2 hours to keep your blood sugar steady, because apparently your body doesn't know how to do that. And it's not quite as bad as having diabetes where I could die from it, but I will get very sick and it can lead to diabetes. So, like, my breakfasts are usually very carb heavy. So, like, I remember, like, at the time that morning I was eating, like, soda bread, which is, like, this very thick kind of bread, and I had put butter on it, and then I also had jam on top, which is not very keto at all, because it's all sugar and carbs and, like, bread and gluten, right? And I was like, oh, this is so good. And I was making some for Art because he wanted some. And this roommate comes in, he's like, this is everything we're against. Like, he starts laughing about it. And I'm like, dude, I don't need to lose weight. Apparently you think you do. And you drink. I was so pissed about it. Because this dude, so he's on the keto diet, but he also would drink beer all the time. He was one of those people who was like, I only drink craft brews. But he would drink so many. He would shove them down like Paps. And it's just like, dude, that contains more carbs than my breakfast has ever. So yeah. Like, I was supportive of the keto diet until I lived with this guy and he started telling me about it, and I was like, it just sounds like you guys starve yourselves. And he was like, well, yeah, some people do it with intermittent fasting. I'm like, so starving yourself. I'm sorry. If you want to be on a keto diet, go for it. But the people that I have met who do, okay. you know what, that's fair. If you like beer, go for it. I did not like that he would preach to me and try to get me to like. I have never weighed more than 109 pounds in my life. I actively try to put on weight, and this bitch was trying to tell me like, well, you'd be healthier if you were on this diet where I literally eat fruit and celery, and I was like, no. Yeah. Like, some people go on a low carb diet because they need to. Okay, sure. But keto, I've never heard it recommended actually by a doctor. It's always by like that one friend who's just like, I swear, man, he's cool. No. Where'd you get your nutrition science? Yeah, he was. We were not friends. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So like, yeah, from what I understand of the keto diet, it's literally like straight protein and straight fruits or veggies. Actually, I think it's almost just exclusively raw protein, isn't it? Okay. You know what? If it's based on science, go for it. What science is the keto diet based off of besides people who actually need to go on an almost all protein diet? Like, I'm sure that it exists, so someone must have done some level of research. But I don't think, like, you would never tell a normal, perfectly healthy person who is not lactose intolerant to cut all dairy out of their life. Like, why would you do that? It's not hurting them. It's like, they will become lactose intolerant if they go on a dairy-free diet. People can eat whatever they want. I just really don't like it when people preach it to me, and that just makes me hate your food movement even more. And also, people will do things like starve themselves over their fucking diet. Yeah. It should. Yeah, okay. Like, if you need to be on a diet, go for it. But I would only trust an actual doctor or a dietitian or a nutrition specialist. I would only trust people who do science. I'm not gonna trust Joe from the Health Mart who stocks cheese about his exclusive cheese diet. Just let me eat my ice cream. Okay, now that just sounds unhealthy. I should start exercising more. Part of my job now is to organize the... Yes. So that is something I have friends who are vegetarian, and I'm someone who likes to cook for my friends. So if I have friends coming over, I was cooking for them, I'd always ask, I'd be like, hey, are you still vegetarian? Or hey, are you still vegan? Or have you gone from vegetarian to vegan? Or are there any like new dietary restrictions? Just so I can be on top of that. And I've talked to them about it, because I could never survive that, and I brought it up. I'm like, oh, so you're deciding to go vegetarian? I was like, oh, okay. So like your iron can get really low, or like it's a little less about the protein, because so much of a vegetarian's diet is making up for protein that like every vegan or vegetarian recipe I've seen has been like, this is how you can get as much protein as possible out of this veggie. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. My biggest worry would always be iron intake. And I would talk to them about that. And usually, at least the people that I have met who are actually interested in this and are not just trying to like lose weight, do the research and are like, this is why I'm doing it. And this is like, like these are like some of the supplements that I'm gonna take to help to make sure, like, to start me off, or like this is like they would do the research, they would be smart about it. The only people I know of who do diets and do no research are the people who are like, I need to lose weight fast. Yeah. I would expect iron to be a big issue because there are so few veggies that give you the necessary amount of iron usually. Or at least that was what I was talked about when I considered being a vegetarian, and I was looking into it because I might be a little anemic. Possibly. Just a little bit. Yeah. And that doesn't work for everyone. Like, there are people who like cutting your calories and exercising like doesn't work just because they've got like glandular problems or hormone problems. But you should always talk to your doctor about it. The people I know who do the least amount of research are the people who are like, or the people who just want to lose weight fast and who don't talk to a doctor about it. Which is a whole big different issue. Yeah. Oh god, so my mom's family was full of people who had who had a history of diabetes and would do those diets without consulting their doctor. They would do like all of the like lean cuisine and like those kinds of diets. Well, they started a fiber 1 diet, and so they never had like, when I would go over to that house, my mother's parents' house after school every day, they very rarely had food that I could eat. I would always have to wait like many hours to get home, but I was hungry, right? So one day I found like a package that they had of these fiber 1 brownies, right? And they were brownies, like they tasted like brownies, and I was like, oh, these are definitely snacks that I could probably eat. So I ate like the entire box. Fiber 1 contains a higher amount of fiber than most other foods because that's the whole branding for them is fiber 1. You poop out your calorie intake. I ate an entire box of their shit yourself brownies. I was so sick. I was a little bit more closely monitored when I went into the kitchen after that. Don't eat the shit yourself brownies, kids. They're very effective. God. I think I was like 9 or 10. Super concentrating on the noodle. Okay. Right back. Quick brush. very excited about it. Couldn't tell. Ash. Woo. It's really good that we're getting so close because my butt hurts from being in this chair. I know it's TMI, but my stream! Give as much TMI as I want. I like this song. I am not good with music. I learned that through much trial and error as a child because I wanted to be good at music. Desperately. I tried to learn how to play the piano on a keyboard because my mom's mother knew how to play the piano. They had a keyboard. She was like, the only thing I ever managed to learn how to play was chopsticks. And I'm not even good at that. It is literally the easiest piano song ever. I am completely tone deaf. I can dance, like I can do rhythm stuff, but I am completely. So much ramen. What have I done to myself? Let's see. Let's see. You guys can't hear that, but Art is sneezing in the background. I was raised to be so polite that it's almost a compulsion. Which is true. Sorry if I'm getting a little quieter. My head is killing me just a little bit. I'm going to concentrate a little bit more. If you guys want to ask questions or talk in chat, I will be very happy to converse with you. And that right now, my brain has decided it does not want to think of topics on its own now. I'm going to know that kind of the point of an art stream. Topic now. Doesn't help that this lo-fi music is like relaxing me so much, so I'm like sleep right now. I could put my head down on my desk and take a bit of a nap. Part of my job at work now is reorganizing the entire basement. I have to go through very old files and resort them in a system that makes sense to me and that could easily make sense for the next person who has my job after me. And I work with the person who had my job before me who organized the files, and the more I try and organize the files that she just basically threw into a drawer, the easier I get it. But I also get to like hang out with no one around me, which is nice. Listening to the same 2 audiobooks on repeat forever because I don't have the work Wi-Fi password yet. And smell paper, like old paper. I like old paper smell. It's not just old book smell, it's also like old paper smell, which I find very pleasant. Not basement smell, old paper. I did it! I drew all the ramen noodles! Yeah, now I just have to draw, like, the rest of the fucking cup. So close. Haha! 'Kay. Oh my god. Did we do it? Oh my god, you guys! We sketched out! I sketched out! We sketched out! Oh no! I was wrong. I was not right. So close! Okay. "20 emote sketches! We did it! Hooray! Shall we go on a tour through them? No. Look it. I mean, like, I don't love the ramen ones here on the bottom. I think, like, the style fell through a little bit, but it's still, I think it still holds up. It's not bad. Look at this. Look at this. Thank Thank you! I am so glad you like them. I'll do the line art off camera, and then my next stream, we will be doing flat colors. It's super exciting. I know I did promise to do the sexy lady. This is the sexy lady I was gonna do the line art for on stream. The laser eyes. Go back to it. This. I'm really excited to color these. I'm really excited to see these finished. These are gonna be cool. Yeah, you'll be able to use these emotes on the Try Hard Friends channel. Exciting. This is my sexy demon lady. I'm drawing her for Patreon. She has, it's like a little bit of a flip where like the other slide is her lifting the sweatshirt up. If you want to see that, subscribe to my Patreon. What else? There's not a lot else. Yeah. This has been really fun. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. This is actually a character I made a while ago that I like she's my not safe for work character that I probably do the most. It's the first recurring one I've ever done besides now the cat girl. She doesn't have a name. I learned like her file for all of her saved stuff that I've done has been sexy satanic chick or sexy Satanist. Yeah. Alright. Thank you so much. There were so many people who came in today to say hi. Thank you, Bleeding, and Try Hard, and Spectre, and Gecko, and Abs, and Fixer. Thanks to everyone who said hello in chat today. I'm going through. I appreciate you guys so much for coming in and saying hi, and I just want to make sure I thank everyone. Yes. And thank you for coming in, even if you didn't say anything, even if you weren't in chat. Thank you for just coming in and hanging out, viewing the stream. I hope everyone had a good time. Thank you to my Patreons, Gecko the Pony, and or Gecko T Pony and Fixerus. If you want to join them, I do have the links down in the description, and anything you donate is really appreciated. If you want to see speed paints, I have my YouTube channel, Gingersnap Draws, down there. If you want to see Instagram stuff, Instagram is right there on the screen. Trying to think of who else. Thank you, Tryhard, for letting me do your emails. Thank you for having me as a guest on stream last night. That was really fun. Looking forward to doing more of that in the future. And yeah, thank you. This is great. I had a really fun time talking to everyone. I almost didn't have a stream today because I was worried about my headache not going away, but I'm really glad that I figured out that I just needed to drink fucking water and the headache went away. Yeah. I'm gonna hit our ending screen and see if we can raid somebody. I will see you guys next week.